Hey,
Hi.
How are you all?
Hot. About Romania.
Even there?
Yeah, plus 13.
Wow, plus
Yep.
13. Come to the Turkey and take plus 14 and more. Okay,
okay.
so first of all, I miss you all, and we have many questions here. And let me just share my screen and let's start answering these questions. Okay, so tips on how to make someone an entity. Only NordVPN co-founders are being recognized as entities currently. Do you want to make also NordVPN departments or activities, events or teams or authors as an entity? Which ones?
It's probably about the authors, personas, yeah, Kunas?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so as a warning, if you make an author an entity and then the author starts to work for the competitor, what will you do?
Probably raise salary.
Nice answer. Okay, so before explaining the methodology, you will need to understand two types of entities. We have named entities, plus we also have micro entities. When we talk about the micro entities, I am already recording, don't worry. Micro entities, it is actually about open domain information. Let me just write it. Information extraction. And if I go to the SEO by the sea, as I usually do, you will actually realize that there is a kinds of company here. Google already bought them. It is called Wavi or something like that. But basically, open domain information extraction, it is for recognizing the micro entities. Micro entities are not actually registered into the knowledge domain or sorry, the knowledge graph or the knowledge base, but still they are used in the web answers and Google is able to actually recognize them. The main thing here is that if an entity is repeated by multiple sources with high consistency, with the same images, same face, same name, same other attributes, search engine will be able to actually recognize that this is an important entity. If once it is important in a way, then actually they will start to put that micro entity into the knowledge base. So in other words, the question here is that if you mean making someone an entity, the person most probably, if the person has a little bit notability, she or he is already an entity for the search engine, most probably a micro entity. If you turn that micro entity to a major named entity for that area, for that section, there are a couple of things that actually you can do to be able to provide that. But to support search engine for creating these specific sections, let me just give the instructions. First of all, you will need to create official website for these people. They will need to have a specific website that define these people with their attributes. And not all of these things has to be logical. For instance, let me show you a project that actually I manage. By the way, anyway, I can explain it later. So you see that there are two entities here, right? The name is same, image, face is same, title is same. Do you see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So Google, since it is so smart, the Google is not, they didn't recognize that these two dentists, this means dentist by the way, these two dentists are the same person. So this project is about actually online reputation management because this person is highly successful businesswoman. But the thing here is that this ex-husband here, he is a little obsessed and he actually publishes fake news about the entity. Once the ex-husband starts to publish some fake news about the entity, Google started to change the definition of the entity. Before me, you will see that this section was saying that ex-wife of Saadettin is the ex-husband. And I was able to change this subtitle. Then the main thing here is when I click in this area, you will see that actually this area says dentist. Then I have here the word successful and I have a definition in this area. I have university, I have birth date and the official website here and a good image. And as you see here, the video section here, they are all about actually career They are all about doctor, doctor, doctor. The word dish, which means teeth, it always exists in the titles, and everything is very much better. And there is no ex-husband here at all, even in this area. See? But when I go to the other one, to this one, you see that ex-husbands. This is the first, this is the second one, which is Saadettin, the Sauron for me, for this project. And here you will realize that these two are for magazine. In a way, here the word here, it's not doctor, it says magazinal person or societic. In other words, the not that serious title for a businesswoman, let's say. And these two here, it exists for this entity, but not the previous one. And if I look at here, for instance, it says how many children does she have? Or as you see here, these are magazinal pictures, and this is, we also have it, but the ex-husband here, he actually appears even more. If I come back, this is a mixed universal search engine result page. What I mean, here you will see the business place, here the image pack, both of the entities exist here, a video carousel, and video carousel is unification of both of these entities at the same time. And if I look below sections, you will realize the ex-husband and some business related things again together. Even this section here, it says dentist, teeth. Then again, we have Saadettin and ex-husband. Here we have the doctor, and here we have the medicine and the business name. So everything is mixed here. So in your situation, to be able to help you, I have to tell you that you have to open maybe even multiple websites to define the specific person. These websites will need to carry the person's name. At the moment here, I even open actually, I have even started podcast series for actually defining or redefining this entity. Here I just focus on the actually the specific entities actually success from Amazon to the SoundCloud to the Google podcast. We actually have these things. I even actually open multiple other YouTube channels for showing the proficiency of the person. So I believe these things a little explain how Google recognize entities, how they start to create these things as well. So not also making a person a major entity in the knowledge graph. Even you can actually create two different dimensions for the person. And if these dimensions are conflicting with each other, Google will start to actually show two different entities, even if they are the same. So if you want to make yourself or your people as an entity, open for yourself maybe a podcast channel, maybe also register for all of your, for instance, if I search my name, which is this, here, this is the Turkish side of me, so there is not that much data. Let me go to the United States. And here you will be able to see more things about me, all the social media things and some data from Search Engine Journal, for instance. NordVPN can be also a really authoritative place, but the place that actually define you, you will need to put many dimensions there. Your birthplace, your expertise, your certificates, your past. You will need to put many things into your author pages, and you will need to link to the official page of the author. Author official website will need to link back to the author page in the NordVPN. And from their social media, they will need to link both of them. Another thing is, when you use actually your article structure data, be sure that you are putting the official website of the author and also your NordVPN author page to the author structure data together as same as attribute. I am speaking a little fast since we also have other questions too. And also since you are experts, you also know what I mean with the author section and same as sections too. Another thing is, if I go below here, you will see many videos that has my name in a direct way, from semantic SEO to NLP to these sub other sections. And Jason is the main expert, one of the main experts there, like from Traffic Tick Tank to my own channel, but there are more. If I go deeper areas, even in these sections too, you will actually realize some other sections, from Medium to the SERPstat to the GitHub to the Get Review, or even if I search here IMDb, you will actually realize that I exist here as an actor or even actress. It doesn't matter, because I was in many podcasts here, and here there is Jason Barnett, which show owner, and he actually puts me here with my identity in a direct way. Use entire surface on the web to communicate with the search engine, and actually to be able to change how the amacular has been actually stated or named, I have published many news. As you see, these are from 2 weeks ago. This means weeks in Turkish. And whenever I publish these things, actually 1 month ago or some other things, I have realized that the search engine directly, like 1 day later or half day later, they were changing entire search features and also definitions of the entities. So that's why I asked that what will happen if the author leaves, because these things are big investments, because you are giving prestige to the author. You try to polish, by saying polish I mean, you know, the brightness. You give the brightness or the prestige or importance to the author. If the author leaves the company, everything leaves together with the author. So try to choose permanent people for doing these things as much as possible. And if you do it, use all of the attributes, and you will need to show the face of the author many times in the images. You will need to add author to the events. You can even organize your own events. You can use the structured data. Google also takes all these events. Even if you search for this, for instance, if I go here and Puerta Vallarta, let's say events, from certain type of websites, they actually collect all of the events every day. August 28, August 28. These are just for nearly tomorrow. So go to all these possible event websites and register your own authors for these events for your industry in a together way, and make that entity exist on every places. After a point, Google will easily actually add you there. And even if you can publish some news about your authors, you can even use Wikipedia in a really easy way, which is a shortcut for being existing in a direct way in a knowledge graph. Also remember this open information extraction, really important concept to understand micro entities. And open information extraction, as I say, it is actually found by Wavi, and Wavi is actually bought by Google just before 1 year before launching the knowledge graph. And now they are actually recognizing new entities here. And I would also suggest you to use this knowledge base page of Wikipedia, which will be helpful, or Truth Bearer or this type of concepts. It will be also useful too. May I move on to the second question?
Yes, very great answer. Thanks.
Thank you. Pseudo tags previously raised an idea about using H tags in LPs only for main keyword related sections. Landing page, yes, it means. When we have dedicated sections for conversion, uplift, banner, newsletter, something else, I suggested using regular text there. But with the same formatting as headings, the idea here is to reduce the content importance to the whole page and presumably have a better content score. Also, I see some connection with Koray's lectures when he spoke about contextual vectors. Interested in his comments on this. Will this change bring a noticeable impact? Did I talk about web page segmentation in our lectures?
Probably not.
Okay, let's go there. Web page segmentation. So I guess we will see somewhere. Let me search again my mentor, even if he is not alive. So web page segmentation, when we talk about that. Okay. So when we talk about the web page segmentation, there are many different methodologies to be able to do that. One of them is actually WIPS, which means actually visual web page segmentation, and it uses DOM3. But there are other methodologies for actually segmenting a web page, like actually checking the text nodes and the words in the text nodes or the gap between the text nodes. There is one more methodology. It is checking the layout, and this is the most expensive way because most of the time search engines do not want to take the snapshot of the web page. Too expensive. That's why they do it for maybe high page rank pages, or they do it maybe like one time only for 2 weeks or 1 month. According to the prominence of your website, it will change. According to the Google statements, they even don't put websites into the same index storage. They use index tier 1 computers and data stores or centers, which are the most advanced computers, and they have the most quality websites because they want to serve these websites very much faster. This is stated in the Search of the Record podcast serving episode. If you listen it, you can also find it. So basically, your question is actually about differentiating the main content from the advertisement a little bit and putting a kind of distance between them. So if the advertisement or the banners, if it is not directly related to your main context of the web page, let's say, try to use a different HTML div to encapsulate these things and use these aside tag, aside, which means this is not the part of the actually, not that, they didn't get that it is actually HTML tag. The aside element here, it means that actually this is not part of the main content. It is actually an extra thing. Extra, and you shouldn't give it that much weight. You can put all of your banners inside of the aside. But if you have a conversion or commercial thing in your title in a direct way, in this case, your banners also would be part of the main content too. If it is the situation, in this case, you can actually use regular headings there too, but while using your regular headings and regular text for your this area, for instance, a newsletter, if the title is saying that, let's say, how to learn or understand network security overall, you can use the name network security newsletter for your heading, for instance. Try to match your nouns, objects, or subjects in your title to your headings for giving your newsletter or banners, if it is possible. Or if it is not possible for the heading, you can do it for the introductory paragraph for that section. If none of these things are possible, then again, you will need to use actually a aside tag. There are a couple of more things. Change the background of that div, for example. Try to use a different typography. Another thing is that try to use a different font size, for example. Do not make that text distinctive as much as the regular content. Your regular content, main content, it should always have a bigger font size, more bold or more coverage, more word count. When it comes to understanding prominence of a web page segment, again, there are a couple of more methodologies. One of the methods is actually checking the word count in that segment. If there are more words in that div, it means that that div is more important for them. When it comes to distinctive text, if they believe that that specific distinctive section has a bigger heading, bigger text, it means that again it is more important. If it has more images, again it means that it is actually more important. So in this case, be sure that these newsletters, banners, or something else here, it shouldn't be that much prominent in terms of word count. It should be smaller in terms of font size. It should be in the aside tag. And if you think that it is one of the main content parts, in this case, do not put it into the aside, put it into the heading, but be sure that your heading is connected to your main context, which is reflected on the title. Is it clear maybe? Or if it is not, I can try to show more things, other things.
I believe it's very clear.
But does it make sense to use just a regular text with the different formatting?
If you change the background, color and your font family a little bit, and if you use less words or maybe a different alignment, it will work. Because in feature snippet related algorithms, I remember that many times they use actual alignment. If the answer is in a different vertical or a different area, then the question, they assume that that answer is not for that question. So in this case, you can use a bigger margin padding to actually isolate that section further, so that the actual search engine assumes that this should be different than the upper paragraph and the below paragraph. It is like an extra section. You can use visual gaps and background changes or HTML div differences or this type of things to state that this is extra and different, not the main topic. Okay, or should I continue? Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Here, in general, many SEO ideas need testing, and to get a tangible result for idea validation, they need to be tested on pages with a decent amount of traffic. Exactly. Most people don't realize it, so it's a good sentence here to read. This often will mean that they need to be applied to the biggest English landing pages, so sometimes it could be tricky. It is highly true. First of all, you will need high traffic pages, or you will need to change like 100 small pages at once, and you will need to wait maybe even sometimes 6 weeks. So, by the way, this is not connected to this one, right? Okay, not. So, I believe you want to have a less risky A/B test methodology. Is it the question here?
Actually, it was connected to previous question, but you can elaborate here also.
Okay, let me just try to answer it like this. So if you want to decrease the amount of risk, let's say, in this case, actually, you can try to choose multiple other pages, maybe 60 or maybe 70 pages. But the page count, let's say, not this, maybe this one here. If I go here, if you have 400, let's say here, if you have 4,000 pages, to be able to have a proper feedback from the search engine, you might need to choose even 200 pages. You need to choose at least maybe 2%, 3%, or maybe sometimes 5% of the website, so that you can actually, you can tell the search engine that I made a change for the big portion of the website and you should give a feedback. If you change that just 1 or 2 pages, search engine might not even recognize it, or they might not bother themselves to re-evaluate the website or these pages. So if you change actually at least 5% of the website, it will be very much safer, and this 5% doesn't have to be that much big, because this time the URL count is very much bigger. And another thing here is that not just the actually web page count, but let's say you have chosen smaller pages. In this case, you might need to actually wait even like 6 weeks to be able to have a proper difference. For instance, just today we completed an A/B test for PDF files. We tested that whether the PDF documents, researches in PDF format, whether it is an expertise signal or not. We added 2 PDFs, there wasn't a difference properly. Then we added 30 PDFs. Then there was an uprise in the traffic, for instance. It was better, like 6% than the before. So now we will try to do these things for other websites too, to see whether the PDF researches are a signal for expertise or trust for the search engine side, or by saying search engine I mean the Google. So in this case too, to test these things, you can choose less important pages, but you can increase the count. But at the same time, you can also wait longer too. Since they are not that risky, you can wait longer. There is one more thing, maybe you already know it, SEOtesting.com. This website actually might help you to test some certain pages with test group or control in the control group section. It might be useful to actually see some certain pages or how they are doing regularly. You can perform split tests here, and using this type of tools might help you to actually choose less samples, since it will alert you in a quick way. Maybe you already know this tool anyway.
Yeah, we actually use it. It's just that it provides quite simple results.
Yeah, it's like up or down, nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe let me just think. Sometimes I also open some testing websites, and they might be even too big. Maybe I can show this to you. For instance, this website here, actually, this is a semantic SEO website with AI automation. If I show it like this, if you have enough big team and a big environment around you, you can even actually use these type of websites for testing too. As you see, we actually hit to those 62,000 clicks a day. And now it is 0, because search engine just decided that the AI content is not that much helpful anymore. And suddenly they have actually de-indexed over 120,000 pages. So I am not telling you to do this, but you can start right now 20 websites in VPN niche, and you can focus on different attributes of VPNs. I already know that you actually have some big websites for VPN too, but imagine that these websites are expandable. It doesn't have to be that much meaningful. You don't need to rank them for the first rank. Just try to perform some tests and check whether they rank higher or lower. And you can actually perform this type of tests without having any kinds of problem. Yeah, this website was making money, but we can create it like next week again. It's not that much hard. So if you have this type of things, you don't need to actually risk your own mothership. You can just try to have some dolls to play all the time. Starting 20 experimental websites and checking, even if it is not in the first page, if you make a change, if it comes to the second page from the 4th page, it means that it works. You don't need to just check it for a web page that takes 100,000 clicks a day. Principles are same in the second page or in the first page too. So let me read this one now. Servers shall...
Sorry, did that website that you showed got hit as this new update rolled out or before?
It's complicated. On Microsoft Bing was actually using manual penalties. They just remove AI content manually, which means machine learning doesn't work against machine learning because we are using AI. So from Google's side, they were okay with it, and actually it is hit just one day after the announcement, but the update according to Google, it started yesterday. So usually I don't believe in Google. I assume it is a little related. But I am not sure yet. I need to spend more time and more websites like that. So we will see it together in the future.
I have a question about what you said previously on testing this with 20 websites. For example, let's take your PDF test. So if we, for example, publish X amount of PDFs to test topical authority on researchers based on like whatever, cybersecurity, wouldn't then when we remove them from one page and then recreate better version of this or better, I don't know, quality content for proper PDFs and put them on the main page, wouldn't that be kind of like a red flag that could raise that, only these 3 websites did 70 PDFs, and now that they saw that it's working, all of a sudden they all disappear overnight so that no one else can see the pattern. But now NordVPN is like, oh, they thought of this now and it's working. Like, I don't know if I'm explaining this well, but basically, wouldn't that raise a red flag?
Could you ask it again, like with one sentence? I just understood the half of the question.
Right. So if you have multiple websites testing a method like the PDF method,
Yes.
and then once you realize that the method works and remove all of that content, and then you do the right content on the right website, on the main website, wouldn't that create a red flag for Google or something that you are the only one thinking of this right after so much content like that was wiped off?
So the thing here is that from Google's point of view, since they are crawling like 62 billions of pages a day nearly, it's not that easy for them to recognize one website that is adding the PDFs. Another thing is that most of the time they are using machine learning for the web spam detection, and it will take really long time for them to label you a kind of PDF spam or something. So if your PDFs are original and if they are really quality researches, and if you are actually giving internal links to your own web pages and from web pages to the PDFs in a proper way, and if you also focus on PDF related queries with these PDF files, actually it will be in that way it wouldn't harm your website. Even if it is like unnatural situation like removing them all of them and just adding them back, etc. Because on the web it is like another regular day for Google. Many people just remove 2 million pages a day, then add 5 million another day. And from search engine point of view, it's actually how the web works. And if they would need to punish every website that does it, they wouldn't be able to find a website to rank, to be honest, because everyone will eventually do such a thing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question for that part? Okay. Servers, child pages, and topical authority. Idea was to have more servers, child pages in other languages to increase the topical authority, or servers related to keywords. At the same time, our child page are quite similar to each other. So in this case, this can be used too, because in my multilingual SEO case study, this is one of the things that I have actually stated clearly, and only a few people actually understood it. Because here I mentioned that why multilingual websites are more useful and valuable for the search engine. The answer here is clear, because when you have an English content which is really good and search engine knows that it is good, which is a kind of sample that they can use for labeling other bad samples. And if they have a translated version for another area, they can actually compare queries for the same topic from 2 different regions and 2 different languages. Then since they have actually a good example and it's one alternate, it will actually help them to unite the data across regions and across languages. It is one of the actually best features of a semantic search engine, an advantage, because in semantic search engines, you just unite entire query data, query sessions, or documents. And if you unite your data, it means that you have a bigger data set, which will increase your accuracy and precision for any language model or any kinds of machine learning system. because semantics means basically meaning, and meaning doesn't have a language. So once you're able to unite from English to French to the Spanish, all the queries for VPN and all the search behaviors, all the query sessions, all the documents, just around the concepts and also patterns of the behaviors, it means that actually you will be able to understand the topic in a better way. And multilingual websites is the first place that it can be done, because query generation, search query generation, this is one of the first problems for the search engines. We usually assume that every query that they are using, it is actually coming from users. Actually, no, synthetic queries. In fact, I even have seen synthetic search sessions. Many times they have stated that they are not using CTR from the users, because they might use synthetic search sessions to imitate your behaviors, and they can use actually their own synthetic sessions to understand which one is more quality, and then they can perform like live subject tests with the quality rater guys, which is 70,000 tests, live tests they are doing with the human beings. So in this case, they wouldn't need actually our clicks that much after a point, maybe. And when it comes to the multilingual websites, it will definitely increase your topical authority out of two reasons. First, you will have more historical data, and this graph here, actually, not this one, for instance, it might actually help you to see that. And probably I will publish this to explain the ranking algorithms, because this is basically about the historical data. So when I open the graph, I didn't publish new content. Let me explain. From here to here, there is no new content. It is same seasonal event. It is same content. If you check this area, this section, you will realize that it is just imitation of this one. We have this bump here too, but it is not that much big right now because of this big number here. The main thing here is that I have just published a semantic content network around here. I even continue to lose traffic. Then the seasonal event actually arrived. It passed. Then my traffic now, it's not like this. It didn't come back. Then there's a testing process like this. It goes up again, it goes down again. Now it continues in this line. And it is higher than here because I was able to collect historical data and search engine tested me. Next year, since I have a higher historical data, search engine is able to trust me even more. And with the same content, same queries, nearly same audience, I have generated three times more traffic. Then same process happens again, up, down, a regular process which is higher than this era. Then another testing process as here. It continues like this, then up again, and this section here, it is basically actually higher than this regular area too. So next year, even if I don't publish another new content, it will continue in this way too. This is a kind of passive SEO strategy actually, using the historical data. In multilingual SEO, your competitors gather historical data and implicit user feedback from one region, one audience, one language. But you do it from multiple regions with more people, and search engine is able to trust you even further. Plus, they know that if you are able to satisfy users from Turkey for VPN topic, they will assume that you can satisfy also people from Greece or Poland for the same topic too. And hreflang will actually distribute this authority across different alternates and alternate sets, and all of them actually will support each other. There is one really more important benefit for it too, backlinks. Because if you want to have proper PageRank balance from all regions, when you link from Turkey to a United States website or let's say Polish website, yes, it works. But around last year, we assumed that the link graph, it has a regionality more or language based PageRank or something like that. So right now, if you have a Turkish version for your website, you can use Turkish links with higher PageRank, and that PageRank will propagate itself for also English version too, which will actually overall, it will consolidate your authority in a very much better way. If you read this article, there is a longer version too, which even too long for me too, even if I am the author. But if you read this short version, you will realize that actually how they compare different languages to each other, how they understand which query relates to which one according to the which language. There are many patterns and different methodologies here that I mentioned actually, especially for the query generation. So I will really suggest you to read these things as much as possible. From a pattern to other things, I just try to explain these things in a proper way. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, yes, it's true. You can use actually your less valuable regions for A/B test too. The regions that much have monetization value. But if you do that, be sure that the difference between alternates are not that much, because hreflang means that this is alternate of that one, which means they have to be similar over 90% at least in terms of translation or transliteration. If your A/B test changes 30% of the web page, you might break the hreflang nature, and the propagation of authority and trust, it might actually pause. So his comment on good and bad things with our approach to have many counter and city pages to cover small keywords, increase topical authority, and reducing risks that getting these pages evaluated as a doorway pages. This will work too, but there is one issue here. This will be my latest SEO case study, by the way. There are 7 different websites here. My purpose here is actually explaining how we can balance the page rank with the information responsiveness, and here I also explain the purpose of the helpful content update too. But the main thing here is that actually it is about cost of retrieval. The main thing here is, if you increase the total URL count on your website, you will decrease the page rank and ranking signals per web page. Whenever you create a new web page or a new URL, the prominence of other URLs will be decreased. So in this case, if you open a new page for every country, it means 200 pages already. And if you open cities in only United States, there are more than 30,000 cities, let's say, I'm just assuming. So in this case, it will be really hard to protect your ranking signals. But if you are able to just prioritize the most important cities maybe, or most important countries, it will work in a proper way. Was this your question here, or did I just assume the wrong direction?
Your assumption was right. Good answer.
Okay. I would like to know, going into the cybersecurity market, what he thinks the top 10 content untils would be most important, and which of them he thinks should be a landing page and which should be a blog post. So to be able to answer this question, actually, I need to check the topical map that I have created for you. But when it comes to that topical map is for VPN mainly, rather than the cybersecurity. But when it comes to the cybersecurity or any other concept, most of the time, most important 10 content units, or let's say content items in my terminology, most of the time it will actually come from the major attributes that don't change. In one lecture I explained that there are 3 attribute parameters that I use: prominence, relevance, and also the popularity. So everything actually has subtypes, whether it is solar panel, whether it is EB5 visas or other things, there is always types. So in this case, actually, you will need to focus on benefit or function of these things, history of these things, types of these things, and also software for these things, methodologies, tools for these things. These understanding won't change from a topic to topic, because this is how the humans think. The important thing here is that according to the concept, sometimes you will need to put your types with the same place with the definition. Sometimes you will need to open a new page for benefits. Sometimes you won't need to open it. That's why I mentioned actually these 3 attribute parameters. If benefit is a popular attribute with high search demand, and also it is prominent, it means that you will need to open a new page. Usually I try to actually have at least 2 of these parameters out of 3. If it is prominent and relevant, open a new page. If it is relevant and popular, again, open a new page. You don't need to hit 3 of them at the same time. So to be able to answer this question, I need to create a topical map or something like this. But to answer it like in this meeting, I can tell that actually the most important top ones, it doesn't change from time to time, topic to topic that much. The types, the benefits, the function, the history, the inception, invention, or the origin, or the brands, or the products, or the services, or the companies, or the threats, or the threat types, they will go in that way. But before actually I created a topical map for this industry, already. And I can tell that the biggest unit is actually cybersecurity types or cybersecurity threats. After the threats, you will be able to open like 20 to 25 main pages, like phishing or doxing or other types of things. And these are the most important ones. Then actually you will need to find these solutions. Solutions and threats, they will be pairs with each other. When it comes to solutions, these solutions actually will be multiplied with the devices like Android or Mac or Apple, etc. And at the same time, you will be able to give examples for every threat, for every solution at the same time too. So it will go from there. But the most important part here is subtypes or samples for that, phishing, doxing, or these type of things. In one of our lectures, I talk about lexical semantics by explaining hyponyms, or these type of concepts. Cybersecurity is the hypernym, doxing is the hyponym, which is a subtype of it. Find all these subtypes and put them into the center. Is it okay?
Yeah, it's really glad to know that we are in the right way.
Okay. So
Yeah, and actually the second question is almost the same. So yeah, the reason why we're entering into that whole cybersecurity industry is because we have now this threat protection feature, which is kind of an antivirus, and we're expanding our product. So yeah, just would be nice to get some more tips of to go into the sector, but I don't know if you.
We like to have like cybersecurity hubs, but I think the first thing about the entities, it's really helped that we understand that to get more authority, we need a lot of stuff to have.
okay. So may I continue to do this one or this one? Which one do you want me to answer? Is this
Yes, the second one, yeah, because
Here.
that one was
Okay.
similar.
Comments on NordVPN interlinking in the blogs or landing pages, anchor text selection pages, paths, and more. Actually, we did it already in one of our lectures, and I can do it further during the audit. It will be a little more helpful if I do it right now, because if I try to do it right just now, it will take only 40 minutes, to be honest. But I can give you, which I will also in the audit file, you will need to actually compare whatever you to your competitors. For example, in one of my projects, which one this, if you read my first article in the OnCrawl, it is for this website from the credit industry. And the first thing that actually that I have done is going to the internal backlinks area here, and I compare it to my competitor. And when I compare it to my competitor, actually, here, if I tell all, the number that I use for here, it was like 4 times less than my competitor. Because one of the main rules of search engine is that if you link everywhere from everywhere, it means that you are not linking at all. Link graphs are created to understand relative importance. And it is not just for understanding for important pages, it is also for understanding important people. For instance, in the future, near future, I will publish some articles on my website too. Let me show one of them to you in a quick way. If I go to the article section, and this is, as you see, my project organization, in the unrevised area, in the glossary, you will see one article for PageRank. Here, for example, I actually explain some historical things about the PageRank as well. And here you will, let me just find some example. For example, the PageRank-like algorithms. First time it is actually used for understanding the most important industry for an economy model. As I can remember, Leonov, or a Russian person, I guess, he actually used PageRank-like models to understand which country has what kinds of an economy and which economic model or industry is more important. Then one of the Cold War experts, he actually used PageRank-like models to understand the most important person in a terror organization. Then the search engines also did the same. With the TrustRank, they tried to understand who is the real expert and the most trustworthy person on a social network. And when it comes to actually understanding your internal linking structure too, at least from my side, most of the time the first thing that I do is actually checking total internal link count. And I always try to decrease it actually. I always try to decrease the link count and make them more prominent and more contextual so that I can increase the weight per link. If you add 100 links to a web page, it means that every link is less prominent. But if you add just 4 or 5 or 6 in a contextual way, every link will be very much more prominent from the search engine side. And you can also perform some tests. Let me explain what I mean. For example, go to the settings section or links section and check your most linked web pages. Then check your log files. If your top linked pages and your most scrolled pages, if they are not aligning with each other, it means that search engine doesn't care about that much your internal links anyway, for crawling purposes at least. And if you start to link one of your pages way much more than other ones, if search engine doesn't crawl it more again, it means that they don't care about your internal links again that much too. So that's why with internal links, I try to communicate with the search engine in a proper way by adjusting them according to relative prominence. If you perform a search for NordVPN like this, most of the time actually second pages here, they will be about your corporation or they will be about your actual root pages. And sometimes you can even check your web pages with the highest impression and then you can search it. You can even find a kind of correlation between highest impression pages and the order of them here. And sometimes they put the highest page rank pages here or some cooperational pages as well. And here you can actually try to understand how they list these things when you search it like that and what is the correlation for internal links, internal link popularity, and also how it actually correlates with the crawl hits and crawl patterns too. So these methods will be helpful for you. I can give the exact answers for this during the audit, okay?
All right.
Anything else on feature snippets that wasn't covered in the lectures? There are many things about this too. This is too wide question. And as I say, I have written a book about it, and explaining a book there is not possible because it's like 35,000 words. But basically there are templates in the feature snippets. They will try to hit a threshold, but there are a couple of more things, and sometimes it's not about semantics, sometimes it's about page rank. For instance, to be able to own a feature snippet, you need to be in the first page. If you are in the first 5, it is even a highest chance. So you can go to the SEMrush and you can take all of the feature snippets that actually you don't rank right now. I believe you already did it many times. But this time you can take the pages that rank at, let's say, between 6 and 8. And you can try to just increase their rankings 1 or 2 points. If you are able to do that, you can actually increase your feature snippet count in bulk at the same time, because usually it is chosen from the first 5 ranking pages rather than last 5 ranking pages. So sometimes you might not be able to take the feature snippet just because you're at the 9th, not in the first 5, let's say. And if you focus on these type of things, it will be helpful too. Another thing here is that you will need to check actually these answer corroboration. Here actually I also explain them too. In the information quality section, it is already a book that I explain how they are chosen, how they are actually weighted, etc. One of the sections is about actually that application. Here, for example, it says that our scoring aggregation technique takes source similarity into account to reduce the effect of similar information coming from sources in the same knowledge domain. And here, they tell that they use actual duplicate sources for understanding which answer is correct, but they don't rank them. So in this case, you can actually try to give more information in the same paragraph, let's say under 320, let's say under 40 words basically. Most feature snippets, they're around 45 words. I usually try to use just 40 words for that area. If you put your answer higher point in your web page, again, it can actually rank higher too. But to be able to give an organized answer for this, it can be like 10 hours lecture series, to be honest, only that one.
You should buy a book.
Okay. We have reviewed your HST file, approved the topics and marked them accordingly. Any suggestions for us how to best to use it? Or should we just cover these topics step by step? One article is actually prepared. You can find in the sheet, the last column. We would like to get your thoughts on it. So your questions are really long for answering. And is it in the article section?
Link is being put in that
In a
sheet
sheet, okay.
in the last column.
Last column, you mean last column here? You are muted. I can't hear you.
Yeah, last column, and if you
In
could
the-
find the first line that has it.
This
Yeah.
one, I guess. Okay.
Mhm.
And what is backdoor attack? Okay. This is actually a black brief, but still it is okay. Let's check backdoor.
So this is the brief, and then there's the article. and
Okay,
the
you
amount.
put all of them here. I understand.
Yeah, but I don't know if you need more time for this or
No, not rather than time actually. This where is the article?
in the other URL, which is also in the main doc.
Main doc, you mean here somewhere, or it is linked in?
No,
this-
no, I mean the main sheet where there
okay.
are all of the topics.
So it's here. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
For example, just it seems good for I can understand from the first sentence, but the thing is, put risk, for example, which is a correct verb and a noun, but maybe just before the risk, you can tell that maybe cyber risk or kinds of internet security risk, or if you can use the word digital cyber or something like that, it will be better too. And you are using actually a concept to object definition, which is also good. The only thing here is that actually you say could. Instead of could, you can directly use precision by saying just put, which will help you to use less words, which will increase the prominence of every individual word, and it will be more certain. And the term covers a wide range of the common attacks. Most of the time, I always use my main entity for at least the first two sentences. If you use it, actually it will be better too, because when you say the term, search engine will understand it with maybe 90%. But if you want a 100 certainty, just give it in an explicit way, because when you say the term, it might be the risk, it might be the company, it might be the website. As that's why usually I tell for semantics, try to think like the idiots. And idiots wouldn't understand what term you mean here, right? So in this case, it might be cybersecurity too, or something like that. So if you give it explicitly, like writing for the idiot, let's say, it will be better too. And wide range of common attacks here say, but what kinds of attack? Terror attack, or which is cyber terror also exists, but let's say cyber attacks. In this case, it will be better too. Targeting everyone from individuals to government agencies and international cooperations in online environment, or let's say on the open web or World Wide Web, let's say. So what is a backdoor attack and how dangerous can it be? It is good, but let me show you one thing. The Google already has a kinds of summarization engine here. And usually once you spend enough time here in this document, they're able to suggest you a kinds of summarization in an automated way. Usually they summarize these articles in an automated way by looking at the first two headings. If you perform a couple of tests, you will realize that too. Nothing wrong here. But the thing is that most of the time, if I'm able to find that backdoor again, in your first area here, try to use these H2s from time to time, not H3s, okay? But these H2s or concepts in these H2 areas, like device names, like at least one numeric value or statistics, maybe a couple of laws or law names, or some region names, or a history or a date, as a percentage, let's say an amount, a date. Let's say a country name, and also an example here, say maybe you can tell the biggest backdoor attack example happened in X date. So if you're able to unite these H2s under this summarization section, it will be very much perfect, okay? So your beginning area is actually good, but if you're able to focus on these sections, it will be more useful as well. Am I clear on that? Okay. When we talk about the definition, is any root by the way, these sections are for actually having more feature snippet chance, because most of the time feature snippet will come from the what question. I repeat the question so that I can give two different definitions, and the second one can be even expansion, and so that I can have a better repetition, which means that consolidation for the evidence or the strength, and then I can have a better chance. Rather than can or the could saying the certain using the certain section will be better. A backdoor attack saying will be better to matching actually backdoor concept or the concept in the question to the concept on the answer. If you think like an idiot, when you say the backdoor, it can be everything there as well again. And access pieces of software often come with the backdoors built in their code, which is again a good sentence, but rather than saying often, usually I try to use percentages or more concrete sections, but I know that it is not easy to tell it. So try to avoid say it often, let's say. If you can use a numeric value, it will be more helpful too. Cyber criminals using, which is a good section, using these entry points to gain unauthorized access to the data and the systems, and let's say private data before that. And when you say the entry points, use a pronoun, which is these. And this is actually a different paragraph right now. And from search engine point of view, you are actually talking about slightly different context, or you should be talking about slightly different context. Because when you publish these things, actually these things will be in different P elements in the HTML structure, and there is also a visual gap. For example, if you use WordPress, if you press Shift and Enter, you will be putting these two paragraphs into the same P element, for example, because Shift and Enter uses a BR HTML tag, which is break. So it means that these two are connected to each other in a better way too. If you use a Shift Enter, even these pronoun will be connected to this section in a better way too. In semantics, skepticism is one of the rules all the time. Will it understand it? Will it parse it? That's why I always try to make it more explicit, but this is good, especially from the malware section, I can tell, because you are putting into the last sentence and you are not linking from the beginning or the first word in this case, which is good. So overall, to use the time in an efficient way, I can tell that it seems actually good, Edwinas. The structure actually for overall is good. Usually I don't use this language as preference. If you want to use it, try to make this section longer a little, and try to put it into the maybe as a different paragraph a little, or maybe I'm trying to tell it because we will explore those different options now, which is a good sentence for readability. I'm not against that, especially in the Google style guidelines. Sometimes they also suggest using actually this type of incentives. But the thing here is that when you say types of backdoor attacks, this doesn't include any kinds of type name, or it doesn't include any word from here or any word from this area. It says different options or exploration or explore. So in this case, you can even tell check backdoor attack types below, or the most common ones, etc. Or if you want to tell we will do it, try to also use a list definition for this area here, and you can use an incentive or a kind of trigger sentence there too. Overall, it goes good. It seems good. For these Boolean questions, always start by saying yes or no, then use your sentences. It is one of the also general rules as well. Do not start by saying if, put the if into the second section. This is also valid for this area too. Okay? I can give these notes for now.
So basically a lot more being sure in our language and now open to interpretation.
Yeah, think like the lawyers, as I say. That's why I like writing with the lawyers, because they are obsessed with even the comma. They assume that everything will be disaster if they don't check even every word or every single thing there. From even using a single word in a wrong way, the judge might change their opinion, or everything might go in the opposite way. In semantics too, machines don't have a brain or the feeling, they just use word sequences. And if you increase the confidence even higher, you will have a better chance also for being understood and also ranking too. About Google helpful content update, I will publish this case study, then I can give more things, but I can actually show a section from here. It might be useful for you as well. So these are the things that actually in a certain way we know. First of all, it is a site-wide signal and it will take over months to show its real effect. There is a timeout and validation process, which means that since they are using machine learning, they can label you in a wrong way too, which means they will need high confidence score to be sure that you are not helping, which means site-wide, repeatedly, you need to do the same mistake all the time in an open way. And another thing here is that there is also reverse effect. They assume that if they tell that you are not helpful, it will be valid maybe for 3 months, then there will be a re-evaluation. And if they decide that, okay, we were wrong before, you change things, again, the effect will actually take months to show itself as well. Chris Nelson, by the way, he is the announcer of this update. He also announced many other things. He's one of the chief officers for the search quality team. And they need historical data, as I stated in that graph for ranking. And they will need to use implicit user feedback, which means clicks, mouse ups, mouse downs, or mouse overs, or selections, and also some other things there according to them. It is highly relevant to the semantics and to the related topics, but one of the main things here is that they focus on originality, not the repetition. So they will need to increase the need for actually original phrases. If you check my latest video on my YouTube channel, I actually mentioned that I have used unique n-grams, and unique n-grams actually show your expertise because no one else is using that specific phrase combinations besides you, which is a signal for uniqueness. There are many other things that actually here I explain, like quality assessments or some other things. And if you check the questions, they actually use Panda quality algorithm questions, which is highly relevant to the helpful content update too. But in my opinion, the helpful content update, I believe it is highly related to the communication campaign by Google. Because when you look at what helpful content update says, it's not different than the previous updates. It's same what actually hyperlink included topic search says. It's what Hilltop algorithm says. It's what Panda algorithm says. It's always same. But like Core Web Vitals, like Page Experience algorithm, and also like helpful content update, I believe search relations teams, they create some concepts that will make people feared and also help SEOs to communicate in a better way with the users or the website owners and force everyone to make a research and be an original knowledge domain expert. So in my opinion, rather than a strong update, this will be a communication campaign by the search relations teams. This is my opinion because the name of the update actually shows that in a clear way. When you say Panda update, it doesn't ring what Panda you mean. But when you say helpful content update, it actually rings something. It annotates a couple of things, and it might be really an argument in the SEO discussions. You know, you can easily tell that your content is not helpful, and it blah blah blah. But when you say the Panda, it's not a good communication. So that's why I think that it is like in the Core Web Vitals. Did you experience big changes due to the Core Web Vitals or Page Experience algorithm in terms of rankings? Did it happen?
Well, we did a lot to prepare for it, but
did you experience really good improvements thanks to that against the competitors?
Yeah, we had because we managed to have a good results, and then our rankings get up.
Okay, for that. But usually, when it comes to the actual page speed optimizations or these type of things, if there are too many competitors for the same topic, it actually shows its difference in a better way too. But if you are in an industry that there is not that much competition, let's say, by saying competition, I mean competition in terms of page rank or in terms of other areas, if there is no that much alternatives to your source, even the page speed might not be that much enough. But I can still tell that actually, even for the Core Web Vitals or page experience algorithms, again, it has taken longer time than the people actually expected. People expected changes like in first 2 weeks, but actually it happened like 2 months later or 3 months later, and it was inferred changes in a permanent way too. From industry to the industry, it might change, but similar things actually will happen in these algorithmic updates too, actually, because it might be the website that I show you. Yes, it might be because of the helpful content update too. I'm not sure for that, but from my point of view, this is actually a communication campaign rather than another update from my point of view, because when I look at their explanation, it's not different what they say previously, and they will try to find specific type of signals to understand who is original expert and who is just rewording existing content from the other web pages or websites. And to be able to understand that, you have to use algorithms like this. Let me just try to remember. This is one of the things actually. For example, in author vectors, they can understand whether you have an original authorship or not. This is also one of the patterns that they are using. In the authorship or author vectors, for instance, while writing, I always say, for example, in this context, these are my author vectors, only I use them. And Google is able to understand whether you are the real author of an article or not. So based on that, actually, they can start to use these things. That's why I published my Google author rank research actually before this era, because I know from their research papers or from their latest publications that they have to care about the real expertise, real original content, and real focused knowledge domain experts. And author vectors or website representation vectors too, it is one of the main methodologies to see that. And they can try to find this type of unique phrase combinations or term combinations to be sure that, yes, you are one of the authoritative persons there. You can check this. There are a couple of more concepts that actually I can mention maybe later, but let me give you one example before moving further to the last part. In the American Constitution, there were 13 pages that are discussed for authorship because it is not known who has written them. I guess it was James Madison, he told that I have written it. Alexander Hamilton told that I have written it. For 200 years, we didn't know who has written it. But thanks to author vectors, we were able to actually compare these 13 pages to their books and to their other parts that they have written in the Constitution. Then we have realized that author vectors were very much more closer to the Alexander Hamilton. Then we have understood that actually he has written these sections because he is using certain word orders in terms of roles, like adjective, noun, verb, or he is using different types of Boolean operators or question formats. And if you have enough level of sentences or enough level of data, you can differentiate people's persons' writing styles from each other, even if it seems like so close. So from this point here too, they can actually understand who is writing real original expert topics or content or not. And AI content, it might be one of the issues because we are using language models. And this is what I mentioned in my research too. If everyone uses the same AI, it means that actually everyone uses the same author. And an author can't be an expert for every topic on different pages. Because imagine that there's a language model, it generates 40,000 articles a day for 2,000 different websites. And Google assumes that, yes, there is an author, uses the same word orders all the time. He or she appears everywhere, and clearly it's not a human. So that's why I'm telling that they can understand these things in this way. If we will have time, probably we won't, but let's try. We would not.
Sorry, actually, yeah, this would also require time because it's about the reviewing our pages, but yeah. So since
I have one question about the topic before. Can I ask?
Of course.
So basically, you say that maybe we need not to rush in the updates if our, for example, rankings are down.
Look, we are all, I believe, SEOs here for over 5 years. I am on my 7th years. When Google announces something, I don't get even excited. And when people get excited, I get angry. We are in this business for a really long time. And to be honest, I didn't see that much helpful content about helpful content update on Twitter yet. So do not get excited. Just try to have the data, make the analysis, and take the precautions. Because Google actually publishes and launches over in 2021, I believe it was over nearly 300,000 updates. And if there are 5 days in a week for workings, which means actually nearly they are publishing like maybe, I don't know, 2,000 to 3,000 updates a day nearly. So we can't get excited for all of them. And they don't change their direction. My topical authority case study, it actually comes from a video from 2011. I was just watching Andrew Hoog, which is inventor of the fact repository, browsable fact repository, which is the ancestor of the knowledge graph. He was explaining semantic search engines, and I just wondered while eating my dinner, okay, I should watch this. Then I got inspiration, so I have to try this, I said, and then it worked, and then I have written the case study. So I was able to create it thanks to a video from 10 years ago, basically actually even 13 years ago nearly. And in this case, every update actually, they always reflect a certain direction and certain mindset. They don't change their understandings, they just change sometimes methodologies or mathematical formulas. Sometimes they change their hardware or data center structures, etc. But their direction is always same. So I don't know why people get that much excited. And for instance, in Google I/O, they published a new language model, which is called Pathway Language Model. It has actually 540 billion parameters, which is way much more exciting, but none of the SEOs talk about it. So that's why I'm telling that this is actually a communication campaign rather than an algorithmic update. They actually give people a mindset. Because 3 years ago, every SEO was talking about links, PageRank, anchor text. Now we are talking about helping people with the content. It is what Google already wants, and it is a manipulation technique, I believe. And they are doing it in a really good way, thanks to
it's
Twitter.
The question that if your ranks are down, how to say it's like our people who thinks that you are losing money because of that.
Yeah, if let's say your rankings are going a little down, the first thing is actually for doing that, try to take all of the pages that don't generate any kinds of click for the last 6 months, and also take all of the previous dates. For example, I will write another case study soon. It is about serving methodology of search engines. Let me just show it. Servability, yeah, here. For example, for this one, which is a highly big website, and it is really hard to manage it. Do you see here, since 2017, I take every major update date, and I check how the website gained traffic and the clicks or lose it. I just don't make these analysis for, let's say, last update. I go even to the Panda era if I have data. I check all of them. I check all of the updates. I check which one actually benefited me or the competitor. Then I compare all of them. Then I check actually what are the explanations. I even go to the Webmaster World and I check the forum threads for that specific update from 5 years ago, let's say. Then I can understand, okay, usually for trust updates or maybe for usually some other updates, these were the feedbacks that I have taken. For example, sometimes we have phantom updates, which means unnamed, unannounced updates. And still I check them because here I have lost 27 organic clicks or also some other queries and nearly 80,000 queries as well. And once you check all these things, then actually it will make more sense as well. And you can be more sure about it. One more thing is, if you are stressed because of this latest update, since it focuses on originality and since it is a site-wide signal, it means that even if your pages that drops most, they might get affected because of the pages that you already forget that they exist. So because it is propagation of trust, propagation of quality, and you might need to be more careful about your underperforming pages that you already forget about. If you fix them too, you will be in the safe zone, I believe. One more suggestion, as a holistic SEO, PageRank is always like insurance. Always try to have higher PageRank, because in patents I have seen many times they say that if PageRank is high, it can't be spam. They say, even if it's keyword stuffing, because when you have the PageRank, it's like money in the real life. People care about you, even if you just fart while everyone is there. So in SEO2, PageRank is like a lifesaver. So if you have it, you will be in the safe zone more and more.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So people, another 80 minutes nearly I am talking, and I can tell that for the next month, I just want to rest a little. I will decrease the meeting counts. I already told it to the other clients too, because also there will be an accounting era in my life, which I hate. And then I just want to publish some videos, tweet a couple of things, because some people think that I am dead and they're asking me whether I am alive or not. So I want to show that I am alive to them too. And it was, I believe, another efficient and good lecture, I hope. I hope you enjoyed. And
Yeah, sure it was.
thank you.
And one last thing about the tech recommendations that you provided us. So actually today we had meeting with our developers, and we're waiting for some of your answers on
For the
there.
Trello.
Yeah.
Okay,
on
I
that.
will check that.
Yes, Trello. Yeah, we left some comments, so if you can just please answer them.
Of course, I will.
So Justinas, probably we will leave more after today's meeting with developers.
Yeah, I left some, but we probably will leave some more
Okay.
under each task.
Okay. When I check it, I will write some feedbacks or answers, or I will try to put some resources according to answer. I will behave.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Thank you for everything, and see you later.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.